Hey friend, please subscribe and like the video. 1 second for you? Big deal for me. My name is Michael Harris, and if you had asked me a year ago what family meant, I would have said everything. Now, I'm not so sure. I'm 52 years old. I own a small construction business in Ohio, nothing fancy, but I built it with my own 2 hands. I married my wife, Linda, 20 years ago. We raised her son from her first marriage, Ethan. He was 5 when I met him, and from the first day he clung to my leg like I was already his dad. I didn't think twice. I taught him how to throw a baseball, how to ride a bike, how to tie a tie for his first school dance. Every memory that mattered in that boy's life, I was there. His biological father, Rick, was barely a ghost. He'd show up on Christmas with a gift that looked expensive but meant nothing. Missed birthdays, missed graduations, missed everything that required showing up. I used to tell myself, it's okay. Ethan knows who really raised him. I believed that. Until the night before his wedding. It was a warm June evening. The rehearsal dinner was at a lakeside restaurant. Candles, laughter, clinking glasses. Linda was glowing. Ethan looked proud, and for a few hours, it felt like everything I had ever worked for had been worth it. Then came the toasts. Ethan stood up to thank everyone. His fiancée, his mother, his family. And then I heard it. And of course, I want to thank my dad for coming all this way. You've always been my inspiration. He turned, not toward me, but toward Rick. I froze. It felt like the entire room disappeared. The laughter drained out, and the only sound left was my heartbeat. Rick, the man who couldn't spell responsibility if you tattooed it on his hand, was sitting there, smiling like he had earned that title. And Ethan, my boy, handed it to him like it was nothing. Linda reached for my hand under the table, but I pulled away. Not out of anger, out of disbelief. Because in that moment I realized I wasn't family, I was convenience. The next morning I woke up before dawn. I went downstairs, made coffee, and sat in the quiet kitchen while the sun crept through the blinds. My suit was already laid out for the ceremony. The tie I'd picked matched Ethan's, a small touch I thought would mean something. But now it just felt like a joke. Linda came down, her hair still in rollers, and asked softly, "You're still going, right?" "Of course," I said. "Wouldn't want to ruin the pictures." She flinched. I wasn't trying to hurt her, but the words came out sharper than I meant. The ceremony was beautiful. The venue looked perfect. I'd paid for most of it, the flowers, the catering, even the live band Ethan wanted. And yet, when the procession began, I wasn't standing beside him. Rick was. He walked Ethan down the aisle, proud as a peacock, soaking in the admiration. People whispered things like, "It's so sweet he could make it." Father and son, what a moment. Father and son. Those words hit harder than any punch I've ever taken. When it came time for photos, I stood off to the side, smiling when asked, pretending not to notice how the photographer never once said, "Let's get one with the father of the groom." That night, when the last toast was made, Ethan raised his glass. "To the people who made me who I am today." He mentioned his mother. He mentioned his bride. He mentioned his father. But not once did he say my name. I left before the cake was cut. No scene, no anger, just exhaustion. The kind that sits in your bones and makes you question everything you ever did. When I got home, I poured a drink and sat in the dark living room. My phone buzzed with notifications, pictures of the happy couple, smiling faces, congratulations from people who had no idea what had just happened. I turned it off and stared at the wall. For the first time in my life, I didn't feel like a father. I felt like a placeholder. The next morning, Ethan called. "Hey, Dad," he started, but I cut him off. "No, Ethan, you don't get to call me that. Not after last night." He was silent. Then he said, "I didn't mean to hurt you." "You didn't hurt me," I said. "You just showed me where I stand." He hesitated. "Listen, there's been a mix-up with the final payments for the venue. I know you were handling—" "Ask your father," I said flatly. He stammered, "He doesn't have the funds right now." "Then maybe he should have thought of that before walking you down the aisle." I hung up. Linda didn't say much when I told her. She just sighed, that long, weary sigh that carries disappointment and pity all at once. "Maybe you could have handled it differently." "Maybe," I said. "But I've spent 15 years handling everything. This time, I'm handling myself." Weeks passed. The silence between us stretched like a canyon. Linda visited Ethan a few times, always coming home quiet, eyes red from tears. I didn't ask what they talked about. I didn't need to. Then, one night there was a knock at my door. When I opened it, Ethan stood there. No suit, no smile, just a tired young man with dark circles under his eyes. "Can I come in?" he asked. I nodded. He sat at the table, looking at his hands. "You were right," he said finally, "about him, about everything." Rick had vanished again, took some of Ethan's wedding money with him, apparently. The same story, just a new chapter. "I thought he'd changed," Ethan said quietly. "He promised he wanted to be part of my life." "He said the same thing to your mother," I said. He swallowed hard. "I messed up, didn't I?" "You made a choice," I said. "Now you're learning what it cost." He nodded slowly, tears forming in his eyes. "I don't expect you to forgive me, but I needed you to know. I know who my real father is. It's you. It's always been you." For a long time I didn't move. Then I reached across the table and put my hand over his. "It's not about forgiveness," I said softly. "It's about respect. And now you've earned it back. Things didn't fix overnight. Trust doesn't grow back like weeds. It grows like trees, slow, patient, and only if you water it." Months later, Ethan called again, this time just to ask if I wanted to grab lunch. No money talk, no guilt, just lunch. We met at a small diner halfway between our houses. He looked different, older, wiser. When the check came, he snatched it before I could reach for it. "My treat," he said with a small grin. I smiled. Not because of the money, but because it meant he finally understood. That day, as I drove home, I realized something I wish I'd learned sooner. Family isn't about blood, or last names, or who gets mentioned in speeches. It's about who stays when no one's watching, who shows up when it's not convenient. And sometimes walking away isn't cruelty, it's clarity. I didn't raise a perfect son, but I did raise a man, and maybe that's enough.